If you ask my family and friends, they will all tell you that I can run on and on when I start talking about certain things. And it's not that I have a ton of really important thoughts to get out. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, I just can't figure a clean way to get out of my monologue. Yes, I said monologue. My kids have called me out on that for years. Now, I've caught myself saying some common phrases or sayings, and then, literally, as the words are leaving my lips, I realize how stupid the saying is. But no one usually even bats an eye at the phrase because they are so commonplace. But honestly, a lot of those phrases we use on the regular just don't stand up to even a tiny bit of logical scrutiny. Things like, just be yourself. Well, sure, be yourself unless you're an awful person. Literally, no one wants you to be yourself if who you are is someone who is miserable and awful. If that is the case, who you are really needs to change. Or the golden nugget, money can't buy happiness. Said by all of us who have no money, in hopeful expectation that the thought is true, so we feel better about our lack of cash. Sure, we can use money to buy stuff, and stuff usually doesn't give us long-term happiness, but we can also use money to enrich the lives of those around us, which, in my humble opinion, can bring a lot of happiness. But it's also important to note that peace and contentment in who we are in God is the only thing that brings joy. And joy has nothing to do with money. That said, when we focus on money, whether we have it or we don't, that focus will always make finding joy and happiness near to impossible. And then there's the old standard, good things come to those who wait. Seriously? Really? Sure, maybe that happens sometimes, but it is not a universal truth. I'd say that it's a universal hope of those who are waiting on things that they think may never come. Now, waiting can be a good thing if we use that time of waiting to do something that moves us closer to that good thing. Being patient is a virtue, but that patience never promises an outcome one way or another. So those phrases may not be so great when we put them under a magnifying glass, but there are a few sayings that I think actually do hold up a bit better. And that's what we're going to get into. This video is a part of a series on some common and maybe not so common sayings and why they often end up being true. This is a 6-part series, and you've landed smack dab in the middle of episode number 3. I'll drop a card and a link in the description for the rest of the episodes in this series right here on YouTube. If you watch or listen on other services, unfortunately, you may be on your own to discover the other episodes yourself. Now, I may have gone a bit overboard on my criticism of those bad sayings, and I'll admit there is a bit of truth in each of them, which is why we often hear them said. And we can probably say the same thing for the sayings we're talking about in this series. Sure, they may not always be true in every circumstance or with every individual, but I think there is something that we can take from each of these sayings and apply to our lives and to our creative endeavors. So here's the phrase we're going to work through on this episode. Comfort delays the life you want. Can we all agree that we all have a desire to be comfortable? Comfort in and of itself is not a bad thing. In fact, it is something that we strive for in life, in a lot of areas. But in reality, comfort is both a blessing and a curse. Too much comfort often creates stagnation in every relationship and endeavor in our lives, including the creative ones. Too little comfort creates exhaustion, adds tension, and creates hardships in our lives, in our relationships, and in our creative endeavors. All the desires we have in life, all of those things that we each individually want, from our relationship with God and with others to our occupational growth, from the pursuit of pastimes we love to our financial freedom, from the improvement of our health to the development of our creative endeavors. all these desires and so many more hold varying levels of importance in our lives. And whatever the makeup of desires we have for ourselves is, in a way, what defines the life we have and often frames the life we want to have. But see, right there, we often have a difference between the life we have and the life we want. And therein lies the problem. When we mix comfort with desire, oftentimes our comfort outweighs our desire to do the thing. And the reason for that is pretty simple: laziness and complacency. Those are both the biggest reasons for staying too long in that place of comfort. Laziness is easy to spot in our lives, simply not doing the thing because we just don't want to. Now, complacency is a bit different. It's not doing the thing because deep inside we actually don't care about achieving the desire we have, and instead seek the status quo of sitting in our bubble of unnatural comfort. No matter how focused and how much of a go-getter we are, there is still a bit of laziness or complacency in each and every one of us. That's not to say that there aren't people who are able to achieve the goals in life that they have because they get things done better than others. It's an inarguable fact, but we all still have some level of laziness and complacency. And when we look at the people who get stuff done, we see that it's because they're willing to do the work that is required. See, that's the key. To achieve the desires we have for our lives, we have to do the work. And work and comfort are often diametrically opposed to each other, two sides of the same coin, because we cannot be lazy and, at the same time, do the work that is required. It's just not a reality. Now, let me point out something that is the hidden bit of hope in this saying. The saying is, comfort delays the life you want. It does not say comfort prevents permanently and forever the life you want. Now, I'm the kind of guy who prefers black and white views of things. Yes or no, no spectrums of options, no shades of gray. But I also know that thinking that way about everything is a giant issue. So this little word, delays, is the light of hope in the black clouds of the rest of this thought. This creates shades of gray for the resolution of this phrase. And that is huge when we think about it. It means that there is hope. But what is the hope? The hope is that we see our failing and do the work to achieve the desires we have in life. The point is not that we will never get where we want to go in life. Rather, it's about the fact that the amount of effort we put into the work required to achieve the goals for our lives determines how fast we accomplish them. And when we do the work in a timely manner, instead of sitting in our own comfort, we can transform the life we have today into a life that looks more like the one that we want for ourselves and the ones we care about in life. I believe that the idea of comfort delaying the life you want is true. I've seen it in my own life. I'm seeing it right now in my life. And I can see it in the lives of people in my life. Not doing the thing because we are comfortable. We are all susceptible to the damage that can come from allowing comfort to take over our lives and push us away from the life we could have. It can play out in every part of our lives, but when it hits our relationships, that's a big problem. When our comfort keeps us from a deeper relationship with Jesus, or when our comfort keeps us from establishing foundational aspects of our relationships with our spouse, our kids, our family, our friends. Embracing comfort is a problem that we must fight to eliminate, because in the end, our relationships are the things that matter most and last beyond the circumstances of our lives. When it comes down to it, it is all about the pursuit or lack of pursuit of those things that we desire to achieve in life. And to be fair, maybe the goals we have are unachievable or are just wrong for us. And if they are, then change the goal to something that is achievable, something that is right for us. It's not selling out. It's re-examining what we want and adjusting our goals to get our lives to this new place. And as we close, let me try to strike a balance with all of this. It takes work and it takes rest. Comfort. It honestly takes both to be healthy in any part of our lives. We need to find the balance between the ditches we can fall into with work and with comfort. And that balance should move our lives closer to where we want them to be without being too exhausted to enjoy the success of arriving in that new place. When we have that balance, it can provide peace and joy despite what the world may throw at us as we go, create, and be a blessing. You can support our channel by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to get notified when new content comes out, and liking our videos. If you'd like to consider supporting our team financially, there's a link in the video description with more details. Those things will help our channel for sure, but if you do nothing else, please spend some time in the comments of our videos encouraging one another to create, to help others create, and to help grow that creative nature within us all. Oh, and you can check out these videos too. Thanks. We'll see you again soon.